Hi everybody, Miss B here. Just checking in. Imelda has done her thing, as you guys can see. And for those of you who didn't know, yeah, she was supposed to be just a tropical storm and turned into massive flooding. And supposedly the rain is second to that of Harvey, etc., etc. Well, bottom line, a lot of damage in the coastal area from let's say Winnie Beaumont, kind of, which is right at the state line of I-10 between Texas and Louisiana. Not at the state line, but kind of in that area, all the way over west to Houston, but a little bit beyond Houston, if you will. A couple of you I've spoken with, several of you have checked in to ask how things are going, so I just decided to do this video. We did. I was out, and I do have some footage of some things, but honestly, there's already enough stuff out there. I was not able to access the TrendStar uh, webcams that are all over the place. I mean, it's about like 50, 60 of them things. Um, but there's enough video footage out there all over social media and the news media and stuff so that you guys can get an idea of what's going on. The rains came in, and somehow it went from a tropical storm to massive flooding to rival, Harvey flooding, which, I'm still trying to kind of wrap my head around. I didn't observe anybody die. I think they said there was one person confirmed already that had driven into some high water. We did encounter some high water, but it wasn't to the point that we had to be evacuated out of our vehicles. Um, but I did see some situations where people, a lot of stalled out vehicles wound up down in the ditch or driving in the median trying to avoid the waters. Uh, and we were able to navigate through. Now, see, this is why y'all talk about people in Texas with go big and why they have these big trucks. This is why, because each year during the regular rain season, a lot of the areas tend to flood, just not the flooding we've been seeing, and not as widespread. But there's some areas, if you'll notice, I think one of the barges hit one of the main columns for the bridge, I think San Jacinto River, which supports the I-10, the interstate. So that part of the interstate is shut down. Excuse me. Actually, it was shut down for the weather anyway, and just for the flooding. But now it's probably going to be shut down a little longer because they've got to do some repairs. Um, just a lot of flooding. A lot of the same people who just went through the flooding and the rebuilding and stuff after Harvey are now finding their homes full of the same nasty, muddy, ugly water all over again. And so, for those of you who are local to the area, I just admonish you to be mindful of the gators and the moccasins and things like that that might be in the water. It's not water to play in. I looked at that water. The water is nasty. It's dirty. It's muddy. It's not water to play in. And just people continue to be safe. They have this thing out that says, but turn around. If you see water, turn around. Don't drown. And I just offer that as well. Turn around, don't drown. If you get to a point where you're driving and the water comes at you, if you stay in the middle of the road, I mean, drive along that solid yellow line if you have to, because that's oftentimes the highest point of the road that you're on, where that solid yellow line is. Don't stay in your lane. I mean, safely, obviously, you're going to use common sense, but don't stay in your lane. The water tends to pool on the side of the road and in the ditch and in the emergency lanes first before it makes it to the middle of the road. So, for those who are out there, and not just here, but in other places and any other water issues on the road, if you stay at that solid yellow, the double yellow line, safely, of course. Again, it has to be safely. Um, Depending on the amount of water, and again, you have to measure. If you can see the line through the water, then your vehicle, if it's high enough, obviously can probably get through it. Um, Another trick that people pay attention to and use is if you've got a large enough vehicle that's moving through, and if they're staying in that right middle of the road, if you stay on their tail and go through right behind them, they're moving the water out of the way. So if your vehicle is low, if you go right behind them, you should be able to get through. But don't do it and say I told you. I'm just letting you know, if you get into the situation, you got no way to turn around or whatever the case may be, that may be something you want to look at doing. But the best bet is just to stay home, stay wherever you are put, if you can. If you don't, if that's not an option, if you got to get across town to get your baby, or whatever the case may be, then practice whatever safe measures you can. And I just recommend everybody buy a couple rafts or kayaks and just start boating around every time we had these storms. Just get in your kayak and kayak around the city, get what you need done, and kayak back home. I just had to throw that in there. And in the meantime, there's a meme going around, and the meme actually shows a dolphin and a cow, and they're both kind of jumping out of the water, kind of, how the dolphins jump out and they go back down in the water, and it shows a cow right next to it. I saw it and I just thought it was the funniest thing, because I'm thinking, well, you know what? Yeah, Texas cows, they have to learn to swim with the dolphins, so that means they special, they something, they doing it big. You gotta laugh to keep from crying. I'm not crying for myself per se, because I didn't have major damage with Harvey, and my biggest thing is just being out in the road and in the water and stuff and trying to get away from. But I'm just thinking of all those people who just 2 years ago had to literally throw away everything out of their homes. And I drove some of those neighborhoods yesterday, and I saw the water had come through a lot of those same neighborhoods and just ravaged through. Cars abandoned, people had to escape the cars just to get away from the water and leave their cars and get rescued. And so I cry for them. And that being the case, the biggest thing was just to say that we're safe, we're good. You guys continue to be good. My understanding is this storm is moving north. So those who are north of the Metro Houston, Winnie, Beaumont, if you're north of that, that would be Tyler, Texas. That would be Dallas, Texas. That would be all those areas north. You guys just be prepared for flooding. Not to say that it's going to happen, but this came unexpected. There was no advance notice about major flooding to this degree. We were told tropical storm. The expectation is, flooding like we get every year during rainy season. And this has turned into flooding, something similar to Hurricane Harvey or, Katrina or all these other major storms. That being the case, you guys take care. We are safe. Thank you for your concerns, your texts, your calls, your emails, all that other good stuff. And like I said, I'm not going to post any of the footage that I've got, just because there's enough out there. And whatever forces are at work helping to create these storms that are creating massive destruction in people's lives and creating homelessness all over the place and stuff, I'm not going to give them any credibility, any clout, any I don't know the word I can think of, but I'm not pumping them up by keep posting so many of these videos of the destruction that's being done. I just want you guys to be safe. Take care.